This is the KoperCrabb Podcast.
I am Cheney Crab.
Naveen Copperweiss coming at you. Live on Twitch.
Live on Twitch. If you would like to hang out with us live on Twitch like all of our cool Golden Lobster friends do, then you can do it on Tuesday nights at 6:30 Central Standard Time. Because that's what time it is here in Nashville. We're going to be taking... I have this written down in my notes. Literally, we're going to be taking a sabbatical from the live streaming on tour when we go on tour in about 3 weeks.
Because we're going to be in Europe.
Because we're going to be in Europe, and then we'd have to get up at like freaking 6 in the morning. I don't know. It would suck.
Yeah, what time would that be? You look into that.
I think we'd do it. It would be forward, so it'd be like 2 in the morning that we'd do it. That would kind of be cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe we should consider it. So yeah, you guys should check out our new song, I Am the Void. It came out about 3 weeks ago at this point. Doing pretty well. Make sure to pre-order our new album. It's called Time Will Take Us All. It comes out on March 3rd. And yeah, we're really freaking proud of it. So go and pre-order it. We'll put the link in the description. Go and do that. It's on Bandcamp. It's everywhere. We've got an upcoming European tour with Archspire, Psychroptic, and Benighted. You can find the dates on any of our social media pages. If you're in Europe and you fancy that, then go and check those out. Also,
or
the
if you're
UK,
in the UK and you fancy it.
which is not a part of Europe anymore, so UK. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
what all the fuss was about.
Thought so.
Not a political podcast, by the way.
No. I just don't actually know. I was just checking. And also, we just announced a U.S. tour today, which is, we're going on tour with Whitechapel. They're going to be playing The Valley in full, which is coincidentally the album that Naveen played drums on. So go, Naveen.
This is true.
And with Archspire and Signs of the Swarm. So we announced a bunch of U.S. dates today. You can find those on any of our social media pages. Yeah. Hit us up on Discord if you have any questions for the podcast, as usual. And you guys can also email us. KoperCrabbPodcast@gmail.com. I know not everyone knows what the hell a Discord is. I wouldn't know what it was if it weren't for Harrison.
I wouldn't go on it.
I don't go on it. It's hard to get a hold of me.
But also the KoperCrabb hotline. You can also call in, leave a message. You won't be live. It's not embarrassing.
You don't even have to say your name, who you are. You can be like caller, except you won't be live.
Yeah, caller.
What's the number?
It's 420 6.
Naveen has no idea what the number
is.
is.
It is. I believe it is 420.
It is
615 420 6. That's where I got it. Here, I'll get it for you.
You got us or what?
I'll find it.
Google Voice.
Oh, that's hilarious. So we decided today that we're doing an episode that's like, we're mixing Twitch in with the podcast episode. And all that really means is that Twitch is right here on my phone and I can see the comments that everyone is making.
And it's a little more like relaxed, I would say. I'd say on the Twitch, we're more hanging out. We're interacting with the Golden Lobster community a bit more.
Totes.
Whereas when we're doing the quote unquote podcast, I think we're trying to be a little more on.
Yeah, that's when we're serious.
Yeah,
that's when we don't joke around and we're trying to share knowledge.
Okay, the number is 615-420-7342.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, that's 615-420-7342. So I was off.
You're a little off.
I got the 420 part and the area code.
Good job. I still can't remember the other 4 numbers, and you just said them. So.
7342.
Okay. So yeah, call that.
7342. Oh, it has a cool pattern. If you look at it on a keypad, 7342.
615-420-7342. You can remember things a little easier if you sing them.
True.
This is a stone cold fact.
But so today is sort of a momentous day, as I have succumbed to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
And I am drinking an alcoholic beverage. That's right. If you guys can believe that.
Party boy is back in action.
So it has been 3 months.
You better hit that.
What the? Oh, shit. So I'm not on the right page.
Breaking news.
Yeah, so I'm we're over 3 months deep in sobriety. Well, I am. Cheney, I don't know. Not so much.
Excuse you? Let me clear this up. I stopped drinking on the same day as Naveen. And
you had some drinks when my dad was here.
However, when Naveen's dad and his wife came, I had there were 3 or 4 times where I had 1 shot of vodka.
Still counts.
Over multiple days. Wait, and I think I had a White Claw at the Whitechapel show.
If that counts, then I've been sober for 4 months because I did sober October. Then we drank once at Travis's wedding, and then I'm counting it from the wedding, not counting the whole sober October that I did.
Oh, you're not counting? Well,
I'm not counting
you
that.
Can't count that.
So this is over 3 months from Travis's wedding, and I don't know, something just got into me, and I said, you know what, guys, let's crack a Truly because we have some Trulies. I don't know, just totally random.
So how do you feel?
I feel pretty good.
You know,
I feel all right. I don't really see what the fuss is about. I could kind of go without it, to be honest. I'd rather have a sandwich.
You're talking as far as calories go?
No, just a sandwich sounds pretty good now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. Drinking has its time. Like, it's fine, but it's also fun. I think it's important. In fact, if you find yourself drinking maybe every weekend or, however much, it is important every so often to take a little bit of time off.
Yeah.
I
think I'm an extreme person. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, I'll be like, I'm never going to drink again, and that's how my mind works.
Right.
But I think a more healthy way would be I'm just going to have a couple drinks here and there.
Totally.
But we'll see what happens.
I enjoy doing that. And I actually notice a difference in the way that I look. I'm less bloated, obviously, if I'm not drinking.
That's the thing. It's so bad for you. It's really one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also one of those people who, if I have a hangover in any capacity, I'm a total baby. And I will stay in bed all day and I'll order whatever food comes to my mind. And I'll just, smash. And that'll happen once a week. So it's like, and it kind of ruins a few days after that too, because I'm never at 100.
Yeah, no, but I'm not going to lie. And I have to admit, I kind of like those days.
Me too. Because
it's like this excuse to just lay in bed and eat fattening food and feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Because we have had like maybe 1 or 2 days when we've done that.
Sober hangover.
That we're sober.
Yeah.
Not quite as fun.
It's not the same because you're kind of like, I could just get up and do some stuff.
Right.
But.
You feel like lazy at that point.
So before the show, Ben Towles, or Tolls is what
as we lovingly call him.
Ben Towles. He texted me and informed us that Artificial Brain is playing on Friday.
Where?
It's at Dark Matter.
No freaking way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
who is it with?
Harrison, you coming?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Harrison's. If you don't go, I'm going to punch you in your face, Harrison.
Damn.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I wonder who it's with.
I won't punch you. That is so cool.
Anyway, if anybody's in the area, if any golden lobsters want to come hang out, we're going to be there.
Yeah,
let's do a meetup.
For those of you who don't know who RDB is,
RDB.
Yeah, we call him RDB. Sorry. We toured with them. It was our second tour. It was us, RDB, Black Dahlia, Iron Reagan, and Goat Whore. And I remember that tour. I loved that tour, but we also, the tour before that we did with Revocation. And at the time, Dan, who is the guitar player, and I think he writes most of the stuff for Artificial Brain. He was the guitar player of Revocation, so we toured with him for a year. And those guys fucking rule. If you're into dissonant, weird, crazy chords, Artificial Brain is seriously where it's at.
Definitely be there. It's Artificial Brain, Cross Spitter, and Pelagius.
All right. I've never heard of them, but I'm stoked to go. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be really fun. It's going to be a hoot.
It's going to be a total hoot and nanny.
So we will be there. If anybody else wants to come and hang out, that would be cool.
I'm actually so excited. Yeah, seriously, you guys roll out. I mean, I don't know if any of you are near here, but roll out to that show.
Some people are. Some people are near.
Oh, Chris is talking. We played the small room at the old venue Backstage Live in San Antonio. Is that where the I think that was the night that I stole beer. Was it in San Antonio?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh man, that was a really fun show.
You're gonna be in trouble again, Janie.
I'm never gonna do that again. I would never do that.
Why don't you tell the story for those who don't know? A KoperCrabb classic.
I really don't want to tell this story.
See, this is why drinking is bad.
Yeah, this is why drinking is bad. Okay, second tour. Got really drunk with the artificial brain guys. Got really drunk with them. Thought it would be a good idea to take a case of beer from, I don't know where I got it, like backstage.
They had them like all stacked up. It's kind of similar to if you go use the bathroom at a grocery store. They'll have like all the
beer in the back.
Stuff stacked up back there.
And
it was like that.
I took one and I was drunk and ran out to Naveen and I was like, here, you need to hide this. And they came out and asked Naveen for it and you gave it back.
No, yeah, I was like sober.
Yeah. Naveen was like,
they came out and they're like,
God.
She stole some beer. And I was like, oh man, I'm really sorry. And I gave it to him back. No, I think I paid him for it.
Oh,
I gave him like, I don't know, a lot of money.
Probably way more than what, it was.
And they were pretty bummed about it.
Yeah, that was honestly like one of my least favorite moments because I feel so goddamn bad about doing that. And I cried after and I apologized profusely. I did.
And then we got in trouble. We got a talking to.
We got a talking to, and I apologized to everyone on the tour. But you know what? Sammy from Goat Whore, this is like my, was it Sammy or Ben? One of them the next day.
They were all about it, dude.
One of them the next day. So I'm kind of glad this happened. They were like, I knew I was going to like you, but I didn't know I was going to fucking love you. And gave me a huge hug for doing it.
They thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
They thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I was like, all right. I mean, I feel really bad, but the venue got paid back and Goat Whore loves me because of it. So
win-win.
It's a win-win situation.
All right, let's go to the honky tonk, dude. I'm feeling pretty loose now after this one, truly. Let's go.
All right, honky tonk time. That is on Tuesdays, right?
The line dancing?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, it's Tuesdays. It's Tuesdays.
Oh, is it? All right, let's go. Fuck it.
Uh-oh, dude.
I've never done it.
Where's Mark Lewis? We got to get him to go.
He's probably down.
But yeah, so, damn.
Oh,
Chris said that place closed, though.
Yeah.
So rest in peace.
I had a comment that I wanted to bring up here.
You know what? You know who else I met that night?
Who'd you meet? Sorry.
Kevin Talley.
That's right. He was there.
Kevin Talley was at that show.
Astral Guitar says, does Harrison have a stud for his nose? Because he should. Oddly enough, the guy just got his nose pierced 2 days ago.
Well, but it's a bull ring one. It's a septum. It's
still close enough.
It's not what I have.
I know. Still amazing, though. That comment was in there. Kind of random.
Oh, wait. It's not? I'm confused. What? They didn't just say it as a direct reference to us talking about his...
Oh. Were we talking about it on the show or on the pre-show?
On the pre-show.
The pre-show.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. They're in there. All right, fail.
All right, so confused.
Naveen, fail there.
So I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and I've noticed that there are kind of different kinds of podcasts. And some are super informative, and some are funny. And I like ours to be a nice cross. Or, they're not, I'm not saying we're funny, but it's like...
Playful.
Joking and around and stuff. And I like ours to be a nice cross between the two. I really love that about our podcast. I really love like the Golden Lobster community and all of that stuff. I'm hella proud of it.
Yeah, I know, me too. And I like that we, I think we're just trying to be honest on here.
Yeah.
That's what Evan said a long time ago. Honesty is armor.
That's so freaking true.
And I think that a lot of people's problems in life are because they're not being honest.
Yeah. That's actually...
with themselves.
Yeah. I mean, about a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was...
Let that sink in.
Yeah. Let's take a deep breath over that. Yeah, it's really true.
No, I mean, seriously, like when you have a lot of people's anxieties or just problems that can arise are just due to you not taking an honest look at what's really going on and not wanting to deal with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that's a hard thing to do sometimes.
Totally. I think that I know that it's really important to do that, to try to be honest with yourself. Not that I'm completely honest with myself all the time, but
I'm not.
Totally.
That's why we put things out of our minds. Like, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that.
Throw it on the later base.
Exactly. So that's what we try to be honest about. Everything that we can around here.
Yeah, that's true. From everything from being in a band to like normal life, and which I guess being in a band is kind of normal life for us, but just all the stuff that happens behind the scenes of being in a band, and that it's not all like this crazy rock star thing, but it's also not unattainable. Like if you are out there and you have this dream to play music, it's totally attainable. If you want it bad enough and you work for it, then it's something that you can totally do. And I think that is also a point to our podcast.
That's right.
Because there can be like this smoke screen in front of the whole being a band and touring and doing, making music, being on a label, that makes it seem like it's a million miles away and you're never going to achieve it. But you really can.
Well, that's part of that's part of people not being honest. They're trying to create this
facade.
Yeah, this illusion that they've transcended everybody else.
Right.
That's not really the case. We just, for me personally, I just like making music. I like playing drums, and that was always enough for me to keep me going.
Yeah.
Day to day, today.
Right.
Because I'm not really thinking. I don't really think about tomorrow that much when it comes to music and playing drums and being creative, because why would I? I'm having so much fun right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no like master plan to it.
Yeah, I just didn't stop, and one thing will lead to another.
Oh, absolutely.
And even if I think it is really, really of the utmost importance to find the thing that you like to do where you're not thinking about what am I going to get out of this.
Yeah.
It's just doing the thing is what you're getting. And for me, obviously that's making music. I've always done it. I would do it for free. I would do it if I had to pay to do it. I mean, that's what I like to do.
Oh yeah, me too.
So I think you will find that in common with a lot of people who have, so-called made it or whatever. It's because they are absorbed in what they do.
Yeah.
And each day is fun to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fulfilling in and of itself.
We were sort of talking about that this week, and like, trying to, because things come along. For instance, I've been into music like my whole life, but there are hobbies and things that come along, and you sometimes think, what would it be like if I followed that thread? Yeah. If I like got way into that thing and put all of my attention there, but none of that stuff ever really has stuck for me except for music.
Right.
And that's why I know that it's what I'm supposed to be doing, because it's the one thing, like it's so easy to get an interest and get sort of into it. But music and then just like fall out of it. Yeah. But music has never been like that for me. Like I've never not been obsessed and just like totally into it. And that's why I feel like it's why I'm on the right path.
Exactly. And I think when you find that thing, you feel at ease doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when we do things that aren't like that, it causes a bit of stress, right? So
totally.
If I'm going to work somewhere and I'm doing it for the sole purpose of making money, I'm stressed out about it, because I'm like, what if this certain thing doesn't go right, then I don't get this type of money back or the result that I'm looking for. Whereas with music, I'm already winning. I'm just playing music. I'm making music. It's always a win.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not saying that I'm like a monk about it, and I never am stressed about the results of what's going to happen with the business side of the band.
Well, I think that's the nature of getting into it in that way. That's the nature of making your band into a business. I know that that's like a dirty word. None of us want to say that our bands are business because that's not how we look at it. It obviously is an art, but at a certain point, there's money coming in, there's money going out, and you kind of, you have to play the game like it's a business just to be smart about keeping it going forever. And so that's just the nature of, you know, getting into playing music professionally. So that stuff, unfortunately and fortunately comes along with it.
Yeah. Well, it's like you have there's like the total purity part where you're absorbed in the art of it, and each day is fulfilling in and of itself because you're not worried about tomorrow. You're not worried about the result of what you're doing because you're absorbed in the thing. But we live in a world that we require certain resources in order to keep going.
Yeah.
So it does require a certain amount of strain in that field. And the reason why like I said, the reason why it's stressful to do the business side is because I'm not doing the business because I love it.
Right. Yeah, no.
Totally I'm doing the business because I have to keep going.
Yeah.
So those are the difference between the two things.
Yeah. Jake Scrappile just brought up a good point, which is that he's never disappointed with the money in music because he already knows that we're not making any. It's totally true. Naveen says this all the time, that something that you told your mom when you were a teenager is, don't worry, Mom, I'm not going to make any money doing this.
Yeah, I'm never going to make any money.
Yeah.
So having said that, I mean, Cheney and I, we do make money off of music. I mean, our main income is the band. So we have made it work. I mean, we live I would say compared to if her and I had like, full-time regular careers, we'd have a lot more stuff.
Yeah, way more stuff.
But we don't want a lot of stuff.
Well, I think
so it's perfect for us.
A part of this whole thing is that you kind of have to be somewhat of a non-materialistic person in order to succeed in a touring environment. Because just think about it like on the most basic level, we're in a van or in any kind of vehicle. It doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you're in.
That's right.
The most that you can take with you really is like a suitcase. Otherwise, everyone's getting pissed at you because you have too many things. So on that very basic material level, we can't have a lot of attachment to things because we can't take anything with us on the road. So like you have to learn to live as a really not materialistic person.
And that's honestly one of the things that I was totally attracted to when I found out about underground music. As time went on, I kept going. I wanted to go deeper and deeper to the least amount of materialistic shows. I wanted to go to the shows that were in a basement.
Yeah.
With no, production. Quote unquote.
Man.
I wanted to go to a place where there wasn't a backstage, where the bands were just hanging out, selling their merch.
Totally.
I always was super attracted to that because it was obvious that they were doing it for the right reason.
Yeah.
Whereas you have this idea of people, like the rock star idea that was like popular in like the 80s and the 90s. And a lot of my parents' friends and, like kind of older, that generation, when I was young, 14, 15, going to shows, I was going to like hardcore shows, underground shows, and they would kind of say like, oh, that you're into this thing that's there's so much like drugs and this, that, and the other thing. It's such a materialistic thing,
Yeah.
And I was just like, you don't know the half of it. You don't know what we're doing. We're going to like these like straight edge underground shows that are like, they're selling books and stuff at these shows.
Right.
And so I was always really attracted to that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I never thought that any metal band would be where they are now.
Oh my God. Me either.
I went and saw, when I was 16, Dying Fetus in front of probably 20 people, maybe. And it was like one of the best nights of my life because you don't have any doubts. You're like, they don't care about making money. They're not, obviously they can't make that much money off of 40 people being here. So it just has such a pure quality to it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I love about it.
That's like the ego that you're saying is associated with all of those materialistic things stripped away. You're watching a band in a room of 15 people. How can you have an ego? How can anyone have an ego in that situation?
Exactly.
And that's like the best. That was the best part of it for me as a kid. No one had an ego. They were playing music because they felt like they were a vessel for this music, and they were just out there trying to like do their thing. When you choose to play metal, you're not choosing to make money. Yeah. We all accept that about this. And I agree with you. It's like, I didn't even think that bands, like for me, Slipknot was like the biggest band in the world, and they were playing like the House of Blues type venues and stuff like that. And that to me was like way beyond my wildest dreams of what I ever thought that my band could do. Yeah, right. We're never playing stuff like that.
I mean, when I played at that place that I was talking about where I saw a dying fetus in front of whatever, 20 or 30 people. Maybe there was 40. I don't know. Anyway, it was a small amount. That was the Pound in San Francisco, which was like kind of a legendary metal venue back in the day. This was in 2001. And I mean, when I played there, when Animosity played there, I was like, that's it. I made it. You know, like that was my goal, to just play on that stage.
Yep.
And it's pretty much been downhill since then.
I remember that. My goal, I can't talk about the show yet. I will when it's announced, but we're playing a place that I went to. Like I saw, I don't know, Chimera and 6 Feet Under and Crisis and all of these bands that I really cared so much about when I was a kid at this venue. And I still haven't been able to go back and play it. And it's a really small venue, but it's just like that sentimental quality to me. That to me is going to be making it.
What's that venue?
It used to be called Harry Mary's, and now it's called Lefties. Yeah, okay. But, you know, I had the same experience at House of Bricks. But, yeah, I mean, yeah. That's
so I don't think there's anything wrong with playing big shows. I think that's cool. But I do what I want to do is promote that vibe.
Yeah.
And tell people about that. You know, outwardly, because that was outwardly spoken at these shows that I went to. Mm-hmm. These underground bands would come through and they would be like, there's no rock stars at these shows.
Totally.
We're playing on the floor. We're playing with you guys. And so that's the same type of vibe that I'm trying to put out there.
Me too.
You know, I'm not trying to think that I'm better than anybody because I'm on the stage and they're not.
Never. You know, never. We're just people who are lucky to be like, we're just like, you know, I just can't believe it anytime that we're on a stage. I can't believe that I'm still playing shows. I remember Derek Rydquist was in Santa Cruz maybe like 6 years ago, and we all went out and got dinner together, and you went to the bathroom or something, and I just looked at Derek and I was like, dude, do you ever think about how we're like this age and still screaming into a microphone? Like when I was a kid.
When was that?
We went to Beer 30 together.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, I just can't believe that we're still, I never thought that I would be this old and still screaming into a microphone. And I feel like it's such a gift that I still get to do that in any capacity. I wouldn't care if it's us playing local shows or touring or whatever. I just can't believe I'm still doing it. Yeah. And that to me is like this surreal gift that we get to like travel the world doing this. It's crazy.
Oh, it's very lucky. And a lot of people get really jaded and take it for granted, including myself. There's been many times where I've taken it for granted, where I've just not cared about it at all.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so cool about sort of starting over with ENTHEOS, you know, because we started from nothing and I was already 30. I turned 30 on our first tour.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to do it all again and get to really appreciate where we're at now.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't know if we could do it again.
Yeah, I think it was a bit different for you because you know, when animosity was like popping off, you were maybe 20 years old. And when you're that young, it's hard to understand
exactly
how hard it is to be in that position and how many people wished that they were doing that and how like lucky you are. So it's really cool to me that you got the chance to experience that over again and experience what it's like to like build a band from scratch and go through all of the hardships when you're like a really full-formed adult human and you aren't taking any of that for granted.
Yeah, when you're younger, it's like being like a kid, like learning to walk when you're a kid or talk. You just do it because that's the stage of your life that you're at.
Yeah.
And you take that for granted. Like if you had to learn how to walk again, it would be a big experience.
Totally.
And it's the same thing with, animosity. We were so young that when we were like doing the parts that were, not, sucky or whatever, that were not fun, playing to 5 people on tour, not making any money, doing all this stuff, I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was having the time of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I even did that again with animals when I was in my early 20s, and that was still another fun experience. And then, okay, I'm doing it a third time, and now I'm 30. I'm like, it had a different thing.
I remember you and I having this discussion when you were making the decision to leave animals because you were, starting with Naveen K. And I was like, honestly, do you know what this means that you're going to have? Do you want to do that? That you are going to have to build this all over again? Like it is not easy.
Yeah. And
I remember having that conversation and you were okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't really make very many decisions based on comfort or how big it's going to make me or any of those things.
Yeah.
To a fault. So.
Maybe, maybe not. It's something that I've always greatly respected about both you and Evan.
Yeah. But it's worked out for me this time because somehow we're doing it again and we're about to go to Europe.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
So
the place that we thought we'd never go again. We've said that a bunch of times, but yeah, long story short, I don't know. We're really grateful
very grateful.
And I just, sometimes in the middle of the week when we're not doing the podcast, I'll tell Naveen, like, I just can't believe that that we have this community of people. Like, we don't give a fuck how many people listen to our podcast. We never ever started the podcast thinking that anyone would listen to it, let alone that we would make friends and that we would have this Twitch community where we get on and we're talking to all of you every week and we know about you guys and your bands. And I even see you guys talking to each other and like you guys have made friends with each other because of the podcast. And that to me is the coolest thing that has come out of this is just the community of the podcast. It's seriously so cool. And I feel like incredibly blessed to have all of you guys in my life because we decided to start talking into microphones every week. It's crazy.
Agreed. Yeah, like when we took a picture at the live podcast,
Oh yeah, we did.
And I was like, this is sick.
Yeah.
A bunch of the Golden Lobsters are here. It's great.
Man, wouldn't that be so cool to like do a live podcast at the end or something?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about that today. We got to do like a Golden Lobster
meetup,
like cookout or something, make a bunch of food, just have everybody hang out.
That would be so freaking cool.
That's what I would do. Like if we got super big and we had a lot of money, dude, come on.
Yeah.
I would do.
Oh, me too. I'd fly all y'all.
The Golden Lobsters are coming with me.
At that Knoxville show, I was selling our merch at the Whitechapel show in Knoxville, and off to my right, it was just a lineup of Golden Lobsters.
Yeah.
Just watching and like hanging out with each other. And I was just like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. It's so freaking cool.
Yeah, it's a good time. But we got some pretty good comments over here about people who have gone to shows.
Yeah, I'm scrolling back up.
I can't read this name. Getting Lig. Hoping to meet us both when we come to Richmond.
Guiding Light.
See, I can't read
No,
words
I
when
actually
they're
do
together,
think that
dude.
Naveen is slightly dyslexic. Did you know
When words are pushed together, I can't read them.
there's a statistic about how like many of the world's most intelligent people are slightly dyslexic?
There we go. No, like if
Or
words
maybe-
are pushed together, I can't read them. Anyway, Guiding Light. Of course, I see it now. I'm like, what did I say? Getting Lig. Okay. Hope to meet both of us when we come to Richmond. Canal Club is dive barish. Asses everywhere in that place. We can skip and go to Guar Bar and sip on Grandpa's old Henderson. Yeah, we've played Canal Club quite a few times.
Many times. And the last time was the first time I ever even knew there was an upstairs venue.
Yeah.
I had no freaking idea before.
I hope it's, I'm assuming it's upstairs.
I'm assuming
again,
it's upstairs. I prefer the upstairs venue because the one downstairs is so wide that it never feels like the room fills out. I really like that upstairs one though.
Well, we have to load gear upstairs, which is not a good time.
Someone is asking if you wrote CAFO. Oh, it's
No,
Guiding Light.
Certainly didn't do that.
He certainly didn't. Who wrote those drum parts?
Oh, Misha programmed them. Yeah, because that was already an album before I even came in the picture. You know, I had nothing to.
You know, it would be. We should try to talk to Misha on the podcast. I listened to a podcast that he did with what's punk rock MBA guys. Yeah, and I was like, so much of the information that he was saying was just so, like, I feel like a lot of people should hear it.
Yeah, he like commented on something I posted the other day, and then a bunch of people were like in the comments like, dude, you got to have him on your podcast.
I would love to talk to him.
I could definitely ask him. I'm sure he would do it.
Yeah, so they were by Misha. Not a Drunk. First time I ever saw The Faceless was in front of like 12 people, and it was the sickest show ever. All Akeldama material with Brett Batdorf on the kit. Did you guys know that Brett Batdorf is who filled in for Animosity when Naveen was playing with The Faceless?
Yeah, we did a switch.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I know. It was really weird. Funny.
But we got asked, Naveen and I got asked this week to do like I have mentioned this for the last couple of weeks. You get a ton of interviews when you're preparing to put out an album. And one of the interviews that we got asked to do this week was like our 5 most, the 5 albums that inspired ENTHEOS, which is, first of all, the hardest list that we're ever going to have to come up with.
To narrow it down to 5.
But one that we agreed on, it's not Akeldama, but we agreed on Planetary. We're obviously putting Planetary in the top 5.
Come on.
Because modern metal wouldn't really exist as it does, or the modern progressive tech wouldn't really exist as it does without Planetary.
I don't think so. I think it was a game-changing album. For me, it was.
Me too.
Man, when I heard that, I was like, I'm going to quit Animosity and join that band.
Amazing. Dude, Keen is one of the best metal songwriters ever. Period.
Yeah.
And every single solo that
Undoubtedly.
Keen writes, I mean, you know, all of those guys who were in the lineup at the time rule. Steve Jones, amazing.
100%.
Derek, Brandon, Lyle, all amazing players. But like every solo that Keen writes is like a classic solo.
It's like, oh, that solo.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I've known that solo for 500 years. It's always been around.
Where's the Pappy emote? It never allowed.
We should have Keen on the podcast. He and I were talking about it a few weeks ago.
Get a tell all.
Ben from Newfoundland. I always like to try and support the bands I love that have a much smaller following. Metallica never needs to sell another t-shirt, but buying something Vulvodynia or someone like that could really help. That's absolutely true. 100%. Yeah, I mean, every single t-shirt or album or whatever that you buy from a band really helps them. Like we were just talking about pre-sales of our album or pre-orders of our album before this. And it's like every single pre-order counts.
Yeah, it matters.
Every single pre-order. Your vote does count when you vote in the form of pre-ordering or ordering an album from a band. I can assure you.
That's true. Is there any Discord questions or no? Or should we play that voicemail?
I think people might have gone to Twitch today. Yeah,
Okay.
because they knew we were talking in Twitch.
Oh, right. You want to play the voicemail? I actually want to go take a whiz, and then you can.
Guiding Light says, oh, wait, did you already talk about that? Yeah, you did. Okay, hold on.
Right,
Tanika, thank you. You guys have built something beautiful. Appreciate it very much. Only because of you guys, though, for real. Yeah, it's 100% true. Like, the podcast was just us talking, you know, and then all of you guys came around, and that's why something beautiful has happened because of it. Jordy, does Naveen still write electronic music in the vein of what he was doing in that project? I guess I'll let him answer it for you when he gets back. Astral Guitars, Sing Wretched at Dirty Dog is one of my favorites, like 20 to 30 people. Hung out with the dudes, and it always shocks the hell out of me that when I see them out there, they still remember me. Fun times. Well, this might be a fun fact for you, is that half of Wretched shot our live video in Knoxville. And Marshall, who is the drummer of Wretched, did sound for us on Tech Trek, and he is Black Dahlia Murder's sound guy, and he's seriously one of the best out there. And Steven helped shoot it. Jordy asked, does Naveen still write electronic music in the vein of what he was doing in that project? Naveen K.
Oh, not really. To do that stuff takes up quite a bit of time, and honestly, when we started ENTHEOS, I just wanted to be committed to putting most of my effort into that. So that's where it's at.
Yeah, I think we have.
I put out one. Sorry to cut you off. I put out one song since ENTHEOS started, and that was probably like right when we started.
What song?
I don't remember what it's called, but I just put it out on like SoundCloud.
That is something that maybe I talked about it on the podcast. I know I've said it in interviews lately, but that is something that I really enjoy about our band, though, is that I think Naveen and I both genuinely feel that if he's feeling like making electronic music, he can make it, and we will release it as ENTHEOS, or you will make stuff that's like along to the music.
Yeah, or make like some sort of segue, or add an electric. I just figure out ways to satisfy all that stuff within the ENTHEOS project.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I've definitely thought about making. I think about it a lot. You know, making other types of music, but we'll see.
Yeah,
see what happens.
The world is your oyster.
Yeah.
The Guiding a Light, still waiting for that ENTHEOS Ginger tour. Yeah, that would be cool. We know Vlad. That's the name of the drummer. Yeah. We met Vlad maybe 2018 when we played Heavy Montreal. Really good dude. Not a Drunk, ENTHEOS, Decrepit, and Zenith would be the shit. Oh, and throw Wormhole on there. I agree, that would be the shit. We have talked about wanting to tour with Zenith a bunch. We fucking love those guys. Especially the new lineup, like you go way back with them.
Yeah.
I've known them forever. At this point, 12 years.
Will I ever throw in a sax solo a la Flesh Rot? I don't know. It's kind of played now.
Yeah.
Like everybody does it.
It's a little cool played.
I have to think of something else. Mandolin solo or
flute.
Something. Yeah. No, Keen did the flute.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, God. Keen did saxophone too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but really, you know, I feel like the saxophone thing, like we all know who did it first.
Yeah, Soul Niger, obviously.
Soul Niger did it first.
And mine was like a fake MIDI sax, so it wasn't even real. I just programmed it.
Yeah.
You want the voicemail?
Oh, yeah. Let's do the voicemail.
Maybe. No?
Oh, shit. My bad. Try it again.
Art, all of your intense.
Hand.
All right. We'll have one eventually.
There you go.
Hey, what's up, Cheney and Naveen? Big fan of you guys, big fan of ENTHEOS. I appreciate all of your art, all of your intense, brutal music that I just love so much. My question for you guys is, on a day-to-day basis, you know, sometimes you have those days where you feel like hopeless, where you feel that you've ruined your life and you can't ever have the life that you want. And in those moments, what keeps you guys going? What is the one thing that lights your fire every day, I guess is my question. All right, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Well, I'd say if I'm feeling that down, then I'm just looking for anything that makes me feel okay. You know, it could be just appreciating something that, you know, it could be anything. I mean, years ago, when I was about 25, I kind of had a little bout with depression. And I remember sometimes I would kind of feel like hopeless like that, and I would just try to think of anything that I was into. So I mean, for me it was like Call of Duty at the time. I would just think of that and be like, okay, I still like playing Call of Duty, so I'm gonna be all right. So that would be the first step. That's if you're completely down in the dumps. But for me personally, I mean, it's not that intense for me now. I just try to think of stuff that I appreciate. I mean, like, doesn't have to be being in a band, or doesn't have to do with anything like that. You know, it could be I have really nice food to eat, and you know, I have Cheney in my life. I have so many good things, and my problems with my band not being big enough, or you know, whatever. It's insignificant. It's a luxury that I have that problem.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. And I was thinking, like, what is the smallest thing that I could be? I just think of anything that I'm grateful for, like any little thing, because that can pull me out of darkness. Like whether it's Naveen, having, you know, a home to be in, our amazing cats, my family, my friends, all of you guys. Like there are just so many things that are, you can't really quantify what they are, but it's just the brightness in my life. Like it doesn't have to be some achievement or like some crazy thing that I want, or, you know, none of that.
It's kind of like, look what he said. He was saying that life's not like going the way that you want.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he didn't say that he was starving or homeless.
Right.
So he's really just falling into the trap of comparing his life where it's at now to some sort of made up best case scenario in his mind.
Right.
So it's kind of like this, we all do it. And it's this like torture that we do to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking about that today. I was thinking about how we play these mental games with ourselves a lot. Like if somebody said to me like, oh, Naveen, I'm going to give you $1 million tomorrow. You know, like it's going down. It's good. I'm going to give you $1 million. I would be really excited. And let's say the next day they were like, you know what? I'm actually not going to do it. Then I would be upset. I would be angry, right? You said you're going to give me $1 million. But nothing has actually happened. I didn't have $1 million before, and I didn't have $1 million the next day. Mm-hmm. It doesn't actually matter.
Right.
So it's really your mindset that determines these things. You know, and maybe you want something, you're too focused on the results like what we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you just need to focus on the artistic release.
Yeah, I also think, like, in a way of, like, putting that stuff out there, you can also, if you feel like life isn't going your way, then, first of all, back to the being honest with yourself. Well, what does life look like if it's going exactly your way? So you can make a list. Making a list of the things that you want to achieve is really great. And then you can put it out there and you can see it exactly what you want. And I think that if you just make a tiny step toward any of those things that you think would be living, your best life or the life that you want to live, then that's how you pull yourself out of that. That's how life starts to go your way.
Yeah, you have to have an aim to get where you want to go.
Yeah.
But I would say that a lot of people are really caught up in the idea that once they get there, they're going to be happy.
Right.
But you need to try to develop a certain ease now.
Yeah.
Because the peace isn't out there.
Mm-hmm.
The peace is here.
Yeah, I can put it in band terms. 10 years ago, if you told me, oh, your band is going to be on Metal Blade, you're going to be like going on these cool tours, people are going to be anticipating your record coming out, you're putting out this cool record with musicians who you really love, and all of these things are happening. It's like, me now, I'm no happier or different or like nothing is like better than it was 10 years ago when I didn't have any of those things. Yeah. It's all just been about my mindset. It's all just been about me being happy and like keeping a neutral thing. Nothing for me on like nothing has made me happier. Like getting all of those things hasn't increased my mood on a daily basis or made anything like within me better. It's all just about the mindset that I've had the entire time. Like nothing is different at all.
Yeah, and a lot of people say this, that's what spirituality is. A lot of people say these type of things. Jim Carrey and a lot of celebrities will say, I wish people could know what it was like to be famous because they could see that it's not that important.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's not to say that none of it's enjoyable, but I look at it like a dessert. I know that when I eat a dessert, it's not for nourishing my body. I know that it has nothing more than some temporary pleasure.
Right.
I'm not thinking, oh, one day I'm going to only be able to eat dessert. It's just, you're going to eat it. It's going to be good for a minute, and then it's going to be over.
Yep.
And that's the same way with getting new things, getting a new computer or whatever. And we can appreciate the things, but ultimately it should be helping you be in the moment and enjoy your day to day doing that thing that you love to do. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like what we were talking about last week when Shelton called in and you were talking about how all of these emotions, they pass, and you just have to kind of look at the 1,000-foot view and see it as, or 10,000-foot view, and see it as all of these things will pass. Well, it all passes. Like any of it passes. We're all going to die. Like that's the one real thing in this world is that we're all going to die. All of these things pass. And it's just about like finding the small little things that can bring you happiness on a day-to-day basis. That's really what living is about, I think, is just enjoying the day. And like all of any achievement or any like thing about where you want your life to be, that's all great. It gives us goals and things to work toward, but none of those things are who we are.
Yeah.
What we are is just the person within. So it's important, I think, to focus on that.
I agree. And you're just trying to expand.
Yeah.
As a person.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to do. That's what everything wants to expand. The universe is expanding, right?
Human, a never-expanding human.
Trying to expand.
Earlier, we were talking about how bummed we are that I already used that song title.
I know, I was like, that's such a cool song title. But yeah, I mean, everything's trying to expand.
Yeah, well,
like even if you put like the cats outside, they're like smelling around and they're trying to see how much they can know. So I don't know how we got there, but that's just,
Yeah, I know. I hope that I was thinking while we were saying this, I was like, I hope we're like getting to his point.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
A
His
little
point
bit.
is that's what
I don't
that's
know
what I'm
if
saying.
I
You need to
was, but I was
focus.
really trying.
Yeah, you should focus on the things that you can do.
Yeah.
That you love to do.
There we go.
And try to expand that.
There we go.
Rather than think that I'm going to get something in the future I'm going to get an ice cream cone and that's going to make everything better.
Yeah.
It's not going to.
I think it's also nice to have a little perspective. You know, I used to be a caregiver and I have a very good friend who's quadriplegic. My dad became, I think that it was technically quadriplegic for a few years and he had to relearn to walk. So like and I have a friend who had like a really rare form of muscular dystrophy. So I've seen people in like really like in circumstances that are just things that are so beyond like being bummed out about where you are in life. You know what I mean? And I've seen them mentally overcome these crazy obstacles. And to me, that was so important to experience, to know people who have been put in these really like these circumstances of having to relearn. My dad had to learn to walk again. My friend with muscular dystrophy had to like learn to operate without the use of his hands and legs. My friend who's quadriplegic, like she could walk for 50 years of her life and then all of a sudden she tripped over a door frame and she couldn't walk anymore. And it's like, things could always be worse. And I know that it's super cliche, but things can always be worse. And people in worse circumstances are doing it. They're like getting through these things and they're finding a light. And you know what? If these are the strongest fucking people I know, and if they can find a light and a way to get through these things in their life, then I can figure out, you know, what's next for me and how to make it through this day.
Because my band's not big or whatever.
Yeah, fuck all that stuff. None of that stuff matters.
Yeah. And I really think, I want to reiterate, I really do think that when you're not feeling good about something, I think it's because there's a lack of purity to what you're doing. You know, if you're doing something in a pure form, how could you be upset about something that you don't have?
Right.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. All right, let's see what anyone's saying in the Twitch chat. Burning the Hive. I listened to a Ram Dass talk the other night, and he talked about just that, stripping away the roles and getting in touch with our true essence. That's right. Ram Dass, Be Here Now. Almost named the album that, actually.
Damn.
Way before the accident.
Oh, wow.
Way before the accident. Ram Dass is great. Oh, sorry. I'm just reading the...
Yeah. I mean, I think this is... Someone was mentioning how we feel about spirituality earlier, and I think...
Oh, yeah. I think it was Burning the Hive.
I mean, the best thing I can say is that I really don't know anything.
It's exactly how I feel. I don't know a gosh damn thing.
But that's a good thing. You know, if you don't know, then you're open to hearing what other people have to say.
Yeah. That is...
When you know everything, you don't want to hear anything. Right.
That is kind of like the path that I take with learning about things. Like as far as spirituality goes, I have no idea. Like I am not certain about any esoteric thing like that in this life. I'm not certain about any of it at all. So I'm willing to learn, and I love learning about all of it. And that's why I was studying philosophy, you know, because I think it's really important to learn as much as you can, to take a little bit from every spiritual book that you can. There's something good in all of them. And there's bad stuff in all of them too. But, you know, you kind of have to weigh it out and just consider everything.
Yeah, like I used to listen to Jocko Willink a lot. And he doesn't really talk about spirituality, but he has a point that he likes to make a lot, and that's being dug in. And when you're too dug in, you don't really have any room to like maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
or hear other people's points of view.
That's
So I have the tendency to dig in to one thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have the
And
tendency
so lately
to
I've been really
not.
trying to take a step back and not dig in and just hear anything. Why not? Why not explore the possibility of anything?
Yeah. I mean, isn't anything possible? To me, it's totally insane that we're like humans on a planet and we've built, we've come so far. We've built houses. We can drive cars. There are all of these crazy things going on. And apparently someone has passed the Turing test, which you told me a couple weeks ago or something. I guess it's a someone now, right? But it's like, if all of that is possible, anything is possible. Literally anything. That's why I would never discount maybe aliens exist. Maybe they don't. Probably in some form or another. But I think it's really important to just kind of take it all in.
Yeah, I agree. All right, geez. Well,
Oh, I wanted to say,
as
before
deep
we
as we've
end
ever
this
got, we
podcast,
drank a couple Trulies, made us feel
I
philosophical.
know, I kind of like the truth. Like, it's kind of nice, right?
Well,
So,
sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit too. I don't want to like say the wrong thing in regards to something spiritual, quote unquote. So I'll kind of hold back.
well,
But
there's not a real wrong thing here, I
yeah,
think.
I know. I mean, I guess you'd have to define what you think is spiritual.
Yeah, seems like we got a pretty cool crowd in the G-Lobs.
got a good-
So I think that they're pretty down to discuss anything with us, but to completely talk about something else. I wanted to, I don't know if we're going to end the podcast or what we're doing, but so you guys know I've been listening to a ton of albums. Like, that's my new thing this year. I listen to albums and write reviews. And there is a killer 70s prog album that I want to tell you guys all about. And it's a self-titled album by a band called Happy the Man. And this album, it's kind of like Zappa-ish. It's just totally bizarre and it's 70s prog rock. And it is so goddamn good. If you guys are into that type of music, then listen to it. I promise you will not be disappointed. I think that it's like gonna become one of my favorite albums. As soon as I was finished listening to it, I was just like, I can't wait to listen to this album again. It's so good. Maybe we'll listen to a song in the post show.
Why don't we jump in the post show and we'll listen to some music?
Totally. Well, to everyone on the podcast, thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah, go check out the tour dates.
Oops, sorry.
Go check out the tour dates. Go pre-order our new album or just listen to it on any platform, whatever. We really, really appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for hanging out.
But we'll see you guys in the post show. We'll be jamming some tunes. And as always, we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one. Love y'all.